So now I'm with Thierry and Kerckhoven, who is head of the supply of recycled products for Umicore. Welcome back, Thierry. Umicore is present again at IERC as a sponsor, first of all, but also as a presenter or participant in many of the debates that we've been having today. Can you tell us particularly which are the debates that you have been the most engaged with?
Well, I think that for a company like Umicore, the developments in the frame of the Basel Convention are very interesting. Yeah. And that is also why we were quite active in that field. Yeah? It is something that had a good intention, because nobody wants to dump Western e-waste in Africa, for instance. But one also has to consider that the implementation of the Basel Convention may also lead to bad effects in terms of importing recycling products into the EU for processing and treatment here.
Mm-hmm. And at the conference, for example, do you believe that all the stakeholders were able to express themselves equally and that you were listened to?
Well, I think so. I think we had some very interesting discussions, very interactive, with many stakeholders from different angles of the industry, legislators, NGOs, legal counselors and so on. So I think it was a very interactive and very good discussion that we had at the IERC.
And what would your particular demands be to the legislators, for example?
Well, our request would be, well, take into account not only the waste aspect, but also look at the resources. Yeah? And take into account that as a global society we need more resources. We should also ensure that these resources are recovered as much as possible. Even if that implies that material may have to be sent from, let's say, Latin America to Europe to be processed here.
Right. There's a question of vocabulary. We heard it several times from industry. Don't call it waste, call it resource. Is it just a question of vocabulary, do you think?
Well, together with vocabulary also comes legislation. Yeah? And of course one has to take into account, well, if it's treated in a bad way, in a nasty way, material can be very dangerous and hazardous. However, if a material is treated in a proper way, like Umicore can do and some of our peers, it is really a source of resource. Yeah.
And so what do you need so you can continue to grow and develop this business as far as Umicore is concerned?
Well, a company like Umicore, we have put an awful lot of money in investments, also in ensuring that we can process the material in an environmentally sound way. So we definitely have the status of a pre-consented facility. And that should be a kind of a guarantee for companies all over the world, as well as legislators and competent authorities, that if material arrives at our place, that treatment will take place under the best circumstances. Not only recovering, I would say, the valuable elements like copper and lead and gold, but also recovering a whole series of other elements, which are also often considered to be strategic and critical.
Absolutely, yeah. And what would the risks be that investment would go elsewhere from Europe?
Well, the risk of when you make shipments, especially trans-border shipments of material, too difficult, is that companies may say, well, if we want to do it in a legal way, strictly legal way, we may go out of business. Or, if we don't want to go out of business, we have to do a local processing, which at the end would result in more pollution, would also result in low recovery of metals. And that is, I don't think that is something we are aiming for as a recycling society on a global level.
And so what would the ambition of the group finally be in this recycling business?
Well, the final ambition is to ensure that we can become an even more sustainable company and that our sustainable services we can offer also to more market players in the world. We really think that from a corporate sustainability perspective, we can do something positive also to those people and countries in the developing world where they may not have the access to the local efficient recycling technologies.
So have a positive impact on the entire market worldwide,
have a positive impact on the entire market because, well, face it or not, I think one of the main challenges that we are facing worldwide is climate change. And, well, we should fight against it together. Yeah. Not just individual companies or countries, but should fight against it together. Otherwise, we will all suffer. Absolutely. We all have floodings or droughts or whatsoever.
Thank you very much, Thierry. Makes sense.
Okay.
Nice to see you again.
Okay, you're welcome.